Okay, the last part of the installation is the battery mount and the little display that goes with it, which has to go onto the handlebars about here. So I'm going to have to move that bike light across the other side. This is a mount for a bike light that I don't use anymore, so I'll remove that. The bell might have to move, but I could be okay because the little display will sit there. And I think, yeah, the battery mount should be out of the way of the brakes. So let's move everything around. Get that off. Oh, that's interesting. It's a bit thinner here than it is there, so I need some more padding. So it needs an Allen key to take the top part off the mounting. So that's the 4 bolts out, and now I can see whether this fits and what size spacer it needs. So there's actually quite a big gap between the mounting and the handlebar, so I definitely do need to put a spacer in between. And they provide you with a set, and there's a little bag that comes with 3 different sized or thicknesses of spacer. I didn't even know what they were, but I took one out. So there's these sized. They look a bit too big to me. Yeah, that's not nowhere near right. So I need some smaller or thinner spacers than that. And actually these are the thinnest ones they give you, and it says when you put them on there should be a slight gap, and there is a slight gap there, so I think that is exactly the right sort. Oops, dropped it. I'm just going to put a bit of tape around the handlebars to sort of protect it a little bit and give it a bit more grip. And then I'm going to need about 4 hands to keep all the pieces in position while I put the bolts through. Okay, so that's on, and I'm going to put the other bit over the top with the other pieces over the top as well. Like that. Okay, let's just get one bolt through. If I can get one bolt in, it's kind of in as well. Not really very in at all, actually. Okay, well the Allen key's not terribly convenient, but I think this will fit. Oh, it will, yes. So that will screw in. That will screw in. And there's a fair bit of adjustment needed. And it's supposed to be equal on all 4 corners. It's a bit fiddly, but actually it's less fiddly than I thought it was going to be, because those spacers have got a little lip over them to keep them roughly in place. Oh, have I got it right way up? Yes, definitely have got it the right way up. That's good. Okay, let's look at it from the side and make sure that it's all going about the right spacing. Well, it's not quite right yet because that's a much smaller gap than here, but then it's not all screwed in yet, and it's the same here, so I need to screw these front ones in further. Okay, nearly tight. I want to not have it resting on the brake cables if I can help it. So a little bit above the brake cables. Let's tighten this up a bit more. That side's quite tight now. This side isn't. This stuff feels like metal. I'm not sure if it is or not. It feels kind of, it's either very, very hard plastic or it's metal. That's kind of weird. I'm not sure if it's 3D printed or not. Okay, so it's going to need tightening up properly, but I think that's pretty much on. Let's just see how the battery fits. So let's just see how the battery's supposed to fit. So it goes in, which way round does it go? Oh, that has to face the front, I think. So this clips up. That little gap sits in the hole there. And then this clamps down and plugs it in. And the little lights, you can't see that, but the little lights have come on the top. So it's all powered up, but that's fitting quite nicely, and the brakes are all out of the way, so I think that's about the right place for it. Can I get my hands in there? Probably. Okay, let's take it off. So that's the battery pack fitted. I want the display on here, and I need to put my little light back on here. Okay, well there's no way this goes around here and actually screws up, because it's much smaller hole than the diameter of the handlebar, and this is the screw that goes in, so there's no way that'll even reach. I did think of putting it round the sort of handlebar extension here, which might fit, but the cable's a bit short, so I'm not sure about that. So just temporarily, I think I'm going to fit it down here. I can still poke at it, but it actually does go round there, and I can screw that back in. So that's just going to be a temporary fit. Well, it might be a permanent fitting, I don't know, it depends. It's not like I need to use it very much. Let's turn it this way so that I can see the display, maybe, which is there, the other side. So the last thing to do is fit my light back on here, and I need a bit more padding to do that. Okay, well the light's back on, but one slight technical hitch is that when the battery is on, it completely covers up the light. So I'm going to have to figure out somewhere different to put the light, because it can't really go on the handlebar anymore. I might have to try and fit it down here, or have an extension on the handlebar mount or something. Don't know. Actually, I think before I put the bike light back on, I'm just going to try plugging everything together and see if it actually does anything. So this is the one that goes to the motor. Oh, blimey, that's an interesting cable. There's an arrow and an arrow. Yeah, so the motor cable, it's quite an intricate little cable. It's got multi connectors on it, and it's got two arrows that have to line up against each other. And oh, that's all. They just have to line up against each other. It doesn't say how far you have to push it in. Well, I've pushed it in a little way. I think it's okay. So I'm going to try it out and see if anything actually happens. I might have to lift it in the air a little bit to see what happens. So I've just turned it round this way so I can see what happens to the display when I plug it all in. Right. So let's put the display. Anything happen? Nope, nothing yet. Ah, you have to press it for longer. Okay, well it's doing 0 kilometers per hour, and I've got a full battery. Now, I try lifting it up and moving the pedals a bit. Okay, well I got a little flashing light on the sensor when I move the pedals. It's not turning the motor yet. I don't know if I'm going to have to read the instructions and find out how to actually make it work. But the display has lit up at least, and well, I'm sure there must be some other things that it can do. What does that do? Nothing. Oh, mode. There's a mode there. There we go. Average 1.2 kilometers per hour, maximum 18. 0. Okay, I'm sure there's things you have to do, but I'll have to read the instruction manual for that. So the next thing will be working out how to use it. Well, a quick update. It turns out that all you have to do is just start pedalling, and as soon as you do, the motor just gently kicks in and starts pulling you along. It feels quite gentle at first, but it does get you to quite a quick speed without very much effort. So I think that's quite a success.